We start this evening with an apology. I'm very sorry. It's entirely due to bad planning on my part. Today is the Welsh Wine Friday, Welsh Wine Night, and I should have had a lot of Welsh wines up, but I didn't because I didn't plan it well enough. So I'm really, really sorry for not planning about Welsh wines. I am going to give a shout out to lots of Welsh wine producers. It's literally now as well. It's 7 o'clock tonight, and I should have done stuff. So there's a few people I know quite well. Anchor Hill Estates, chosen for Series 3 of the Wine Show. A little bit of by the brilliant Charlotte Wilde. She selected that. When I first tried Anchor Hill, I think I was at Noble Rot, and somebody gave me a glass of Pinot Noir and said, "Where do you think that's from?" And I went, "Oh, New Zealand," but very light. And I came out with some utter guff about why it was New Zealand, and they said, "No, it's not. It's from Monmouthshire." But Anchor Hill, I love. Who else do I know? Montgomery Vineyard won loads of awards. Look out for Montgomery Vineyard Solaris. Really nice wine. Now, there's a picture up here. Have a look. This is Rob Merchant and his wife Nicola. They bought a vineyard near Abergavenny in Monmouthshire. And they learned about winemaking at Plumpton College and make brilliant wines. And I tried them. Remember, we met in Borough Market, I think it was, in London. You came across and collared me when I was sitting having a glass of wine. I was delighted. It was great to talk to you. And also a big shout out to Colin and Charlotte Bennett, and also to Tilly and Hattie and Sarah Stewart, who also once heard that I was in Colwyn Bay, and they came down and they have a vineyard at Colwyn Bay. It's absolutely extraordinary. Just between was near Rill and between Rill and Llandudno. They make wine up there. Good. Right, let's get stuck straight into wine. The wines today all come from Sam Olive. I'll tell you more about him in a minute. And Taylor Meanwell of Wine Freedom, but I'm going to start drinking straight away. Isn't this a fun label? Have a look at that. This is Testalonga El Bandito. I Wish I Was a Ninja. Pet Nat 2019. This is made by a guy called Craig Hawkins. It's £21 for fizz. It's a frothy fizz. It's also a very fruity fizz. And it's an off-dry fizz as well. This is a Pet Nat, Pétillant Naturel. Oh, and it's a tangy, what would we call that? It's an appley tang to the fizz. Now, Craig Hawkins makes wine in Swartland in South Africa, a very old winemaking region. It's now enjoying a real resurgence. There's lots of really interesting fruit there. A lot of it's grown dry farmed. It was sort of forgotten about for an awful long time. Craig travelled a lot in Europe, made wine in Europe, learnt from loads of people, learnt from Ibn Sadi and people like that in South Africa, and he now makes this extraordinary range of quite experimental wines. As you will see today, all Wine Freedom's wines are all natural, biodynamic, lutte raisonnée. There's a lot of interest in looking after the planet and in being experimental and very low intervention. Craig says of this label, we'll give you a right old close-up. He said the name came about whilst we were bottling the wine in harvest, and we'd gone in onto the topic of ninjas, as you do. The photo was taken by myself in the pool of a good friend, Paul Jordan, during one of the many Swartland braais. He said, "I knew that the picture would be on my label because it captures the essence of what I want people to think when they taste this wine." I get that. It's got a real minerally freshness to it. This is not like in any way champagne or English sparkling wine. It's a warm climate, fruity, frothy. You'll notice it's when I've already taken this off. It's a Crown Cap. It must be. Is it low alcohol? I'm ready to look. 8%. It is low alcohol. It's real sipping stuff. That I'm a big fan. I don't know. I'm not sure that would survive the trip to give away to NHS workers. I might have to enjoy that myself. 8% summer wine. Buy that for sitting in your garden, not getting too squizzled, and you'll love it. Now, Pétillant Naturel means that they bottled it with quite a lot of sugar, and it did the second fermentation, or the rest of its fermentation, in the bottle. And then he went and disgorged it and topped it up. Look it up. There's a distinction between Pétillant Naturel, which is a kind of ancient method, and Champagne method, which is 2 fermentations in the bottle and so on. I'm not doing very well. I've got a couple of questions actually. Mark C, similar to your swirling tick, Joe, when drinking sparkling wine, should you still suck sparkling wine loudly through the side of your mouth, or is it another? No, hold it in your mouth. The wine itself creates an aerosol. All those interesting appley, minerally flavours will all flow through pear, are all coming through my nose because I'm just gently breathing out of my nose. Melissa Ann. Hello, Melissa Ann. I'm trying Lambrusco for the first time and wondered if sparkling wines had varying degrees of carbonation. They do. Semi-sparkling frizzante is 1 to 2.5 atmospheres. Fully sparkling wines between 3 and 5, but there's a real distinction between 3 and 5. So you've got things like Cremant, there's a slightly less. Full fizz, which is kind of 5, 6-ish even, really, really fizzy. So often winemakers will adjust a little bit. I suspect your Lambruscos are very much at the lower end. Some are frizzante, they're 1.5, 2, 2.5. Some of them a little bit higher. Hopefully that answers it. But you do get, this is a frothy, I don't know, this is 2.5-ish, 2.5, 3, I guess. Right, let me tell you a little bit about Wine Freedom. This is run by Taylor, but Sam and I used to work together. I was Sam's boss. And to be honest, Sam, you've let yourself go. You used to wear a suit and look quite smart. And now look at you, lounging around, being louche. There's some pictures here. Sam is doing some amazing work. Now, the NHS is very close to his heart because I know his wife, Lucy, hello, Lucy, who is travelling all around the Midlands heartland in lots of different hospitals because she's a doctor. And Sam is donating bottles of wine from Wine Freedom to members of the NHS who are nominated by their friends. So go and look on his Instagram page, Wine Freedom, and you'll see that there's little bottles going over. And it's lovely, the responses, because you've got NHS workers going, oh my goodness, I've been nominated. I've got some wine. Fabulous stuff. Should we try another of his wines? I don't know if this is what's getting donated. Entre Rios, it's Adegas, Entre Rios, Saras, Albariño, £14. Now, we've had a few Albariños already. This is darker and more perfumey, and this is more mango and pineapple. Pineapple a lot, actually. It's richer. Ooh, and it's... There's a sort of weight and softness to this, which is interesting because Jose Cruzat, here he is. He puts his wines through a full malolactic fermentation, so it takes away the appley acidity. For those of you who are really into it, but it gives the wines a creamy heft, if you like. Makes them. It also balances out. There is this kind of salty tang to wines. Now, here's a couple of pictures of Jose. He has some fun at the expense of wine influencers, don't we all, really? But I think this is possibly my favourite. When he starts to get a bit glam and pout at the camera, he's an utterly fascinating, very committed winemaker, real foodie, excellent beard. He's in Galicia, so right up in that northwestern corner, right by the coast, which some people would say explains that salty tang. One thing that comes from there, I seem to remember, because I always wondered where they come from, padron peppers. Remember padron peppers? And you eat them, and some are hot and some are not. Although apparently it depends on what time of year you pick padron peppers. So try that with some padron peppers. Actually, very nice with a padron pepper. That's Pimentos de Padron. Oh, lovely. So that is a richer, more textured, oilier style of Albariño. And you used to see that a lot more, actually. You don't see it very much. He makes another one, which is bonkers. But I like this a very great deal. It's one of those wines you can contemplate it a bit more. We've got a question. It says, Jessica Rose, I recently received a gift of 54-cent wine tasting kit, but I'm disappointed. I can't identify the smells. Does the nose learn to smell the scents in time? What can I do to correlate wine to smells? I can tell you exactly, because I've got one of those kits. There it is. Le Nez du Vin, I'm pretty certain, because this has got 54 in it, so this must be the one, by Jean Lenoir. So those of you who've not seen this, go to our friends at Tanglewood Wine Accessories. And what you do is you take out the little scent pots and you go and sniff at them. Now, it's a bit unwieldy to go and do it all on camera, but what I would do for something like Albariño is go and look at, let's say, pineapple, have a sniff at the wine and have a sniff at pineapple and see if the two are the same. And you sort of need to do a bit of trial and error that way. There is in the book little guidance as to how you go and do it, but that's broadly how I've worked. So, you know, you can sort of dig in, right? Quince. Quince is a thing you don't smell very often, but you can find it. It is scent number 11. There it is. I can smell it here, actually. And that is a bit quincy. Quince you often get in Chenin Blanc. But I love this kit, and I used this a lot when I was doing wine exams, and I still dip in. Great sort of party game as well. Hope that helps, Jessica. All right, let's have a look. Oh, crikey, I've got to keep my eye on the time. Fabien Jouvet, La Roque Malbec 2018, £25, quite serious. Malbec or Malbec? This is Malbec, which is French. Malbec is Argentine. Now, it's sometimes called Cotte. It's kind of rough and ready. There used to be a lot of Malbec in France. It's a lot in Bordeaux until it was like one night. It was a couple of nights in 1950. I'm going to go for 6, when the big frosts were. Right in if I'm right on that one. But I'm pretty certain it's a great frost of 1956. And it was the coldest winter in Europe since 1709, which was in the middle of the what's its minimum? It was when there were no sunspots, which was really, really cold. But it killed all the Malbec, and people replanted with Merlot instead, except in the lot in Cahors, where this wine comes from. Now, there are 2 sets of wines that our winemaker, now then, what's his name? Fabien Jouve makes. This is part of his terroir series. So this is grown on Marne Brune Miocene soil, as La Roque, and you should be able to sniff it. But he believes that you should grow it like Burgundy, which is why it comes in a Burgundy bottle with different parcels and different crus. He also makes a sort of vin de soif kind of drinking wine series. That is gorgeous. Now, Malbec does have blueberries. This is a slightly more ironstony character than you would get. Argentine Malbecs are fruitier, but you've got a similar nice tannin to it, nice mouth feel, go really well with beef. Like all these grapes, it's built around a core of blackcurrant, but Malbec tends to have more blackberry. There's a graphite and ink character to it that you get really distinctively in Argentina, but I'm also picking up this kind of graphite-y feel to this. It sounds weird, but it's like pencil lead in the middle of it. It says here that Fabien likes to run naked around his vineyards and says it's energising. Interesting. You know what? The first paid piece of journalism I ever had was in Health and Efficiency magazine, which is a nudist magazine for people running around. Get that thought out of your mind. I know what you're thinking. And it comes from Cahors. Interestingly, for Lent last year, I read Dante's Inferno, and I didn't know that in the Inferno, in the 7th circle of hell, he goes. That's about sins against God, the self, and your neighbour. And there's the 3 rings in the 7th circle. In the circle of sins against, is it God? You have 2 towns, Sodom, people from Sodom, so Sodomites, and people from Cahors. And Cahors was seen as being the seat of people who committed the sin of usury. Okay? Because it was money lending. And to this day, it remains a kind of financial services centre. It's absolutely extraordinary. And Cahors was synonymous with the sin of usury, lending money to people in the Middle Ages. And so when Dante wrote his book, Lasciate ogni speranza voi che entrate, abandon all hope, or ye who enter here, that was where they came from. And it was a flaming pit of field of sand, and it rained fire for all eternity. Go and look at, honestly, if you want to get up really good sort of insults and terms about people, it is, there was all those various bits about lust, and what are some of the other sins that he has in there? Usurers, what have we got? Carnal malefactors, which I think is doing it too much, as far as I can make out. It's great fun. Barators, that's it. Barators are simoniacs. But simoniacs would sell religious things for money, but barators are politicians, corrupt politicians. And I'm not into politics. I rarely stray in there, but amusingly, nothing else. At the end of the chapter on barators, which is about corrupt politicians, the angels declare the march with a trump. For those of you not familiar, trump is a Yorkshire word for breaking wind, which causes much entertainment. We have a birthday, moving swiftly on. Melissa Stokesbury. Happy birthday in Illinois. Happy birthday. Nice to talk to you all the way from Illinois. We have a note from your husband, Tyler, who says, we watch The Wine Show at home every day, and he says, there's not much I can do for Melissa on her birthday with the lockdown, so a shout out would be really great. Like, Tyler, literally, you are locked down in a house with your wife on her birthday. I'm not going to draw a picture, but seriously, I'm sure there's something better you can do for her than go and ask a bald man in the UK in his attic to shout out for a birthday. Happy birthday, Melissa. But I'm hoping this is not the highlight of your day. That's all I'm saying. Thanks very much, Tyler. Good to hear from you. Right, Lee Robertson says, I'm a huge fan of Italy and Italian wines. I'm looking for a good book on Italian wine. Any recommendations? I don't, actually. Can you please tell me what books I should recommend for Lee on Italian wines? Geology Phil, can you tell me more about the Coriolis effect as used in the wines in Portugal? I'm going to be a bit naughty here. Scientifically, it's kind of bunkum. The Coriolis effect is so slight that there is some question. I mean, that thing about it swirling down your plug hole, as I understand it, that's more caused by the shape of your sink than it is caused by the Coriolis effect. All things being equal, the Coriolis effect will affect how it swirls down. I do know Randall Graham in California, he says that because of the Coriolis effect, you get different aromas depending on whether you swirl your wine clockwise or anti-clockwise. But then presumably it would alternate if you're on the other side of the world. So Australians would have to swirl differently. What happens is that people who are right-handed swirl it anti-clockwise and people who are left-handed swirl it clockwise. Randall Graham, who is left-handed, insists that swirling it clockwise is better. Try that at home. Swirl it both ways. See if you can tell a difference. Studio Wendy. I'm really enjoying the series from Canada. Thank you very much. Looking for recommendations for wines similar to Vernaccia di San Gimignano. Good question, actually. Verdicchio, I think possibly is worth giving a whirl to. Vermentino, I'm a big fan of. It's also called Roll in southern France. Verdicchio you'll tend to find is more acidic, tends to have more brightly zest to it. Vermentino is possibly a bit more fruity, depending slightly where it comes from, whether it's southern France or Sardinia, where they grow a lot of it. Greco di Tufo, which is a bit further south. That's probably a little bit warmer and waxier, but those would all be things to go and give a whirl for. A big thank you very much to Sam Olive and to Taylor Meanwell. Sam, bless you. You've gone and done very, very well for yourself. Hello, Lucy. It's been ages since we've spoken. To find out more, go and visit today our WSET Education Hub. And if you don't know anything else, have a look. I gave a speech at the graduation. If you're thinking about doing wine exams, and I think we've edited some bits and pieces together, it's kind of fun. And it'll tell you possibly why you should go and do it. Visit the website, go and look at our various partners. Tanglewood, if you are looking for an Divan kit, go and have a look up for Tanglewood through the website. A lot of people have said, where can we watch the show? Remember, Hulu and Amazon Prime. You can watch series 1 and 2. Perfect lockdown television. See you all on Monday. Cheers.